Welcome to News9 and you are watching On Point. Today we have two On Points. The first On Point is on India's adolescence horror. The second On Point is on the nation's Gaganyaan space mission. Now let's take a quick look at the headlines. External Affairs Minister Jaishankar meets Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. Moscow calls for deeper energy cooperation with India amid US tariff pressure. Parliament passes online gaming bill amid protests from opposition. The bill bans all online games played with money in a bid to curb addiction and money laundering. Group of ministers accepts centre's plan to reduce GST slabs from 4 to 2 at 5% and 18%. Opposition candidate B. Sudarshan Reddy files nomination for vice presidential polls. Kerala Youth Congress chief Rahul quits day after allegation of misconduct against him by actor Rini Ann George. Raj Thackeray meets Devendra Fadnavis, clarifies it was over civic issues, not political. Satish Golcha, appointed Delhi Police Commissioner, top cop changed within 1 day of assault on Chief Minister Rekha Gupta. Pakistan Supreme Court grants bail to Imran Khan in 2023 violence cases. Investigation into the shocking murder of a class 10 student by his junior at an Ahmedabad school have revealed a chilling conversation. A screenshot of an Instagram chat between two students, one of whom is the accused, has shocked everyone. The conversation between the accused and his friend on Instagram, in which he appears to confess to the crime, went like this. The friend said, "Bhai, tumne kuch kiya aaj? Brother, did you do something today?" Accused, "Haan." Friend said, "Bhai, तुमने चाकू मारा था." Accused said, "Who told you? तुमको किसने बोला?" Then the friend said, "मेरे को तेरा नाम पहले आया दिमाग में, इसलिए तेरे को किया, not over the chat. Your name came to my mind first, so I texted you." Then the accused said, "अभी बड़ा भाई है साथ में, उसको नहीं खबर. I am with my brother, he doesn't know what happened today." Friend said, "Call करो 1 मिनट में, कॉल पे बात करते हैं. Please call for a minute, let's talk." Accused, नहीं. Friend, वो मर गया शायद से. He, it means the victim has died. Accused, हाँ? कौन था वैसे? What? Who was he? Friend, अबे चाकू तूने मारा, वो पूछ रहा हूँ. I'm asking you if you stabbed him. Accused, हाँ तो? Yes, so what? So when the friend asked why he stabbed the senior, the boy claimed he had dared him. मेरे को बोल रहा था कि क्या कर लेगा तू? He asked me, "Who are you? What will you do?" That can't be the reason to stab someone, the friend replied. मार देता, मार नहीं डालना था. You could have hit him. Why kill him? The accused boy said dismissively, छोड़ना. अब जो हो गया, वो हो गया. Let it be. What happened has happened. An FIR has been registered and the minor has been detained under the Juvenile Act. Now, this isn't an isolated case. A class 9 student opened fire at his teacher at a school in Udham Singh Nagar on Wednesday after being scolded over homework. The critically acclaimed Netflix series Adolescence delved into the impact of social media has on mental health of teenagers through the story of a 13-year-old accused of stabbing his classmate to death. The series sparked a debate on how exposure to social media can trigger anxiety, depression, self-esteem issues, cyberbullying, and online harassment among teens.
कल दो बच्चों के बीच में झड़प हुई थी और उसमें एक लड़के ने जो छरी मारी है और कल रात को लड़के की डेथ हुई है। उनके पेरेंट्स में आक्रोश था कि वो जब स्कूल आए उसके बाद 108 में बच्चे को लेके गए, जिससे उसका ब्लड लॉस ज़्यादा हुआ और स्कूल के प्रति माँ बाप को और पूरे समाज को काफ़ी आक्रोश था। उसके ध्यान में लेके स्कूल का घेराव हुआ, थोड़ा तोड़फोड़ भी हुई, पुलिस यहाँ समय सर पहुँच गई थी और अभी जैसे आप देख रहे हैं धारासभ्य श्री ने भी अपील की है और पुख्ता बंदोबस्त हमने रखा है। अभी स्थिति सामान्य है।
The shocking killing, which took place just outside the school in Ahmedabad, has sparked a massive protest. Apart from protests from parents, activists from rival parties, all have tried to see this particular incident from a partisan point of view. Some have tried to give it a communal tinge. But for us, the issue is different. The nonchalant manner in which the accused dismisses stabbing his senior to death raises some disturbing questions. And this is the reason why we are debating this issue. So first, what are the questions? Do parents really know what's going on in their child's life online and how it is impacting the child's mental health? Has violence by teenagers been normalized in today's time? What are school authorities doing to control violent behavior among students? Are parents to blame? Is easy access to violent online games and social media fueling violence? Are teenagers behaving like adult criminals influenced by explicit content they are exposed to? Is seeking social media validation fueling crime and violence? And I repeat this, is seeking social media validation fueling crime and violence? These are the issues we are picking up. And on this issue, I am joined by Dr. Vikram Singh, former DGP, Uttar Pradesh and Chancellor Noida International University. Thank you so much. I am also joined by KP Asha Mukundan, Associate Professor, Center for Criminology and Justice, School of Social Work, Tata Institute for Social Sciences. I am also joined by Dr. Jyoti Gupta, Director and Principal, Kyar Mangalam World School, Delhi, and Director, Sri Ram Universal School, Ghaziabad, and Dr. Rachna Khanna Singh, Psychologist and Founder Director, The Mind and Wellness Studio. Let me straight away go to Asha Mukundan first. My question to you is, this shocking crime has chilled everyone to the bone. And if you look at the conversation the boys had, neither it has a sense of remorse, nor there is a realization that you have really snuffed life from someone. So the question is it really because of the fact that there is a parallel world which has emerged in the last 10 years, where the ethics of family, ethics of a mother, father, they become redundant and they do not touch upon the life of a child, and he creates a parallel world in which it becomes okay to be involved in acts like this?
Hello. So my immediate response to this whole thing is I really do not know the facts of the case. Whatever is being shown here is what I am at the moment grasping. So in that context, yes, there's a new social reality among the new generation that is coming in, and how does one deal with this new social reality is something that we ourselves have to deal with. But the whole thing is the whole scene is coming out. We are protesting against violence done by a child with violence. And so look at, it's not, where is this violence stopping? Right? And what is also happening is there's a huge misconception. Ideally, I work in the juvenile justice system, and I know that out of 100 cases, there are only 5 cases that actually children commit really heinous offense. Nobody is talking of the 95 cases where children are committing offense and it's not very serious. But nobody is talking about that. Since this 5% is being projected, there's a huge misunderstanding among the whole society that all the children are committing heinous offenses. Now, this chat that is coming, there is also a context behind the chat. Right now, we do not know what that context is. These are things that we will really have to understand before we can even comment. But social reality has changed. What you spoke in terms of mental health is very, very important. Now, even that, do we really have counselors in the system who can deal with young teenage boys, girls, is another huge question that also needs to be looked at.
Okay. Okay, fair point. Dr. Rachna Khanna saying, my question to you remains the same, but I'll add something more to it. Do you think that the violence has become normalized because of the extreme, explicit OTT content which is available on your mobile here? Cannot be checked, cannot be monitored, it's in your pocket, and you have access to it 24/7?
So it's not just the content which is it is just not. Firstly, we need to understand that the usage of social media has gone up tremendously, right? We see a social media penetration in India close to 33% of the population, right? And out of which we are seeing that the youngsters, there's a large usage of social media, and you'll be surprised to know that there's a recent study which shows that the teenagers are using close to 6 hours of social media per day. Imagine 6 hours in a weekday to use social media. That is insane, right? How do we even take out that kind of time? So we can all understand the compromise it is doing on our physical as well as the mental health and the absorption. The teenager who in any which way the brain is not mature enough to understand what the reality versus the virtuality is, and that absorption is not being processed properly. Emotional, there is no processing. If we are in front of a screen all day long, then the processing of the reality of the emotion is not there at all. Now, coming to the second thought on the normalization of the violence via the social media, certainly there is a normalization of violence, because we are seeing that since all what the brain is not absorbing nature anymore, the brain is not absorbing free play anymore, the brain is not absorbing free loving conversations, the brain is not absorbing loving relationships. All the brain is absorbing is the virtual reality. And we are, it's again a very hard stats to say that 75% of the users are primarily using Instagram or other social media handles, and barring that, of course, there's OTT to play. Now, obviously, if we have our celebs, if we have our idols who are professing violence, or it's gone are the days when we were looking at idols like Vivekanand, we were looking at peace loving idols. Today, to the whole world, the environment also has a large role to play. Even if you open a news channel, the environment only talks about violence of wars happening across the globe. So the absorption which the mind of a teenager is doing is only the negative absorption which is happening from not only the environment in the world, the environment at home. Unfortunately, we are also seeing a large amount of violence, domestic violence. We are also seeing a large amount of marital discord at home, unstable marriages. And we all know that the stats have gone up tremendously post-COVID. So we are seeing that in the external environment in the world, and we are seeing the same thing in the environment and at home. Then I'm seeing the same thing happening in my peer group, and then I'm seeing the same thing on my phone and my tablet and my iPad and my laptop. That's all I'm seeing all day long. So that creates the normalization of what the current situation looks like. So it's a sad reality.
No, absolutely. Let me just go across to Dr. Vikram Singh. Dr. Vikram Singh, when we talk about juvenile violence, how has that changed in India in terms of policing? Do you think this sort of juvenile violence was something which was there in 1970s, 80s? This sort of a juvenile violence, sir?
Good evening, and good evening, ladies. To your very pertinent question, I would say in a scale of 1 to 10, of course, these stabbings, shootouts did happen in 70s and 80s also. But in a scale of 1 to 10, if it was 3 out of 10, it is almost 9 to 10 out of 10 today. The epidemic proportions which juvenile violence has assumed today indeed is scary, to say the least. And I would take you back to the fact that when there was no social media, things were absolutely under control. But now with the tsunami of violence and the platforms that they provide you the negative ideas, the OTT platforms, the PUBG games and other such violent means of escape given to the youth and the adolescents, they were unheard of even about 20 years ago. Now with this kind of input into the young and impressionable minds, you very rightly said, the nonchalance, the indifference, the cavalier manner in which the accused treated this act of stabbing. I mean, it speaks volumes about what the mental makeup and how the mental wiring has changed. Psychologist William James had said that an average human being has about 70,000 thoughts in a day. But I feel of those 70,000 thoughts, it will be 65,000. Dr. Asha ji and Dr. Ratna ji have very eloquently mentioned that these would go and they are fed by crime, hedonism, violence from the social media, and social media validation has become a very potent platform of emulation and also molding the conduct of the youth. We had said
Okay, Dr. Jyoti Gupta, this makes the task of the teacher and the principals who run schools very, very difficult, immensely difficult. I remember when I used to go to my school, Sardar Patel Vidyalaya in Delhi, I mean to say I was in school, then I was in home. It was a time where I had a different name when I was in home. I had a different name when I was in school, and I had a different name when I went back to my natal place, and a different name when I went back to village. I had only identities situated and located in context of places. Today, the identity is floating, it can be recreated, and it can be absorbed. So my question to you is, how do you do this job in this immensely integrate world where online, offline, and real world merges? How do you look at the signs of aggression? How has schooling become different? Because that's where parents send their children to be educated, inculcated with ethics and values, apart from what they get from the immediate family.
The presence of the devices, internet, social media, everything has complicated the lives of the children. And though we do not allow the devices and the internet and the phones inside the schools, but what is happening after school hours also comes back to the school in the form of their conversations on the social media, on Instagram, on Snapchat, etc. So what they are doing at home, the kind of interactions that they are having, the kind of collaborative games that they are playing, which has a lot of violence in them, is coming back to the classrooms. The children of this age can be the most cruel of everybody. They can be very, very mean to each other if they want to be. And this presence of social media, the validation, as we are talking about, of social media, what I'm eating, what I'm wearing, what are the places that I'm visiting, what are the games that I'm playing, what is the collaboration, how many friends, what level of friends do I have, am I friends only with my age group, am I friends with the adults as well? So everything is being brought into the classroom. It is also what content are you watching? Are you a part of the conversations? Are you using the abusive language? The kind of language that the children are using today is not just being acquired by the parents using that language. Because in schools, the abusive language cannot be used by the teachers. But at times, it is the parents who are using the language that comes to the school. But now the children are not dependent on the parents' language also, because they have an access to any kind of language. And if we look at the series on the OTTs in Netflix, in whatever the content that the children are watching online, there's so much of violence, there's so much of abuse of everything, that they think it's okay, it's cool to be adopting that in their daily lives. No child wants to go out and play. We have 1 hour of sports in the morning so that the children are able to, all the students are able to get at least that much of physical well-being that they play in the school. But once they go back home, they don't want to go to the parks, they don't want to play football or tennis or even run around with their friends. They would rather be at home, and they're not even couch potatoes now watching the television. The content is there which they can watch at their own sweet will. The parents don't even know that they are playing the collaborative games. The money that the parents are giving to the children to probably eat in the canteens or the cafeterias, those that money is being spent on substance which is freely available outside.
Okay.
They come back, they vape, they want to treat their friends onto it, and the devices and the internet that the parents are using, the children are freely using the Wi-Fi. There are no firewalls.
Absolutely, I agree with you that there are no firewalls, but there's another point to which I want to bring this conversation back. Asha Mukundan wanted to get in. You know, it's about normalization of certain things. If you recall the way these popular media, the OTT platform normalize obscenity and vulgarity, and I'm not talking like a prude. I remember first it was 16 plus, then it became, I think, 18 plus, then it became 21 plus, something like that, and the plus kept on increasing. Now, if you look at the violent content on the OTT platform, you'll end up thinking that the entire Uttar Pradesh is only divided between Bahubalis, which is not the case. But if you look at it, it's this stereotypification of certain things that has happened over a period of time, and that sort of an content is available to you on your mobile. You don't need permission. Yes, Asha.
So it's absolutely true, or it's everybody's experience that definitely there's a lot of media influence on children. Now, what is the influence is a different thing that one needs to say. One cannot equate crime and violence together. Violence is being normalized, definitely, but is violence leading to crime? Because different children are manifesting this violence in different ways. Even they themselves are not able to deal with the complexities of the content they're seeing. They're not able to understand the content, what they're seeing. They're struggling with relationships. Life has become very complex for children today. And when I'm saying children, it's anyone below 18 years of age. Extremely complex, and we do not still have a culture where the children can have safe spaces to go and speak to, talk to. There is no access to such spaces for children. Now, crime and violence has to be looked at differently, because if all violence led to crime, then today all the children would be committing crimes. That's not how it is. Different children are panning it out differently. So, that context also should be put into perspective.
But madam, my question, yes, there's a difference between crime and violence. But, crime and violence it's also to do with subjectivity. Do you think that the subjectivity has changed? There's no context of crime and violence without subjectivity.
I don't know. I find it very difficult sometimes to explain these concepts. But when I'm working in the juvenile justice system, my experience has been that almost, you look at the population of children being caught by the system. Majority, almost 85% of children come from low income group families. It is hardly around 5 to 10% children who come from middle income families, and we have none of the children who come from high income families. So are we saying that children from middle income group families and high income group families are not getting affected by this media, or are not are not getting influenced by all these things? So there is a lot of subjectivity in the way juvenile justice system is also screening children and catching children.
Okay, I think Dr. Vikram Singh wanted to come in, sir.
Madam Ashaji, with the greatest of respect, I would say the law defines what is violence and what is crime. It is not a matter of choice. It is not a matter of debate. When violence becomes a crime, there will be consequences, whether I may like it or I may not like it, number one. Number two, there may be any amount of academic discussion. The fact of the matter is As they say in the army, there are no bad soldiers, there are only bad generals. Likewise, there are no bad children, there are only bad parents and bad teachers. Two. And I would say, I would take you back to almost 100 years ago when Akbar Allahabadi had said, हम उन किताबों को समझते हैं काबिल ज़ब्ती जिनको पढ़ के औलाद समझते हैं माँ बाप को कफ्ती. Translated into it would mean, I think all those books should be proscribed, which give the impression to the children that the parents and the teachers are senile. Well, today I would say not just the books, but the OTT platforms, the social media influencers, the so-called influencers, the pornographic, the violence-induced games like PUBG, etc. They should all be banned once and for all. For too long have we been soft on violence and deviant behavior. I did not realize that I would live long enough to see and students of 6 and 7 bringing vodka and whiskey bottles in their school bags. Well, this is a ground reality, and ladies, it is no point in sweeping the problem underneath the carpet. It is time that we woke up. I know it is not possible for us to bring back the old schooling. Those norms are over. They are punishable. That the 3 ingredients of good schooling, maybe even around 50 years ago, was caning, cold bath, and bad food, and rightfully so, that they are banned and they are illegal. But the fact of the matter is, as they say, roko, toko, pucho. It is the painful duty of every adult parent, teacher, elders to say, ask, question, and advice. This is the least that we can do to our children and those who depend upon for advice. If we are not doing it, we are failing our duty and we are failing our youth.
Okay, Dr. Singh, my question to you is, we are bordering on the issue of mental health, I really don't want to, medicalize a crime, I really don't want to go there, but the fact of the matter is, mental health is also an issue. So, how does one spot it? How does one correct it? The hundreds of students,
You see, I held the largest police force in the world, 300,000, and I'm now heading a university, an international university student from 60 countries. And when I see faces, I can read faces, and I'm sure all you ladies have the hands-on experience that you can see, that you can read faces, you can see deviant behavior, you can see abnormal behavior, abnormal responses, and it would require another show perhaps to tell you, and those who have experience can identify a behavior that what is going on, what is not what you are eating, but what is eating you will be displayed by the conduct.
Okay, Dr. Singh, to you, Dr. Singh.
So,
yes. No, sir, this is for Dr. Rachna Singh, sir. Dr. Rachna Singh.
So we are seeing a large amount of mental health issues. We know the stats for 1:4 people are having some mental health concern, or the other, which is anxiety, depression, or some other illnesses. But having said that, this is creeping down a lot in the teenagers, which we see a lot of instability in the population currently. And like I said, there is a lot of environmental instability. Now we are seeing a lot of environmental instability at homes. So it's not just the schools which have role or a hand to play in the upbringing of the child. It is also the stable homes which are missing at this moment. And while we are putting a finger on social media, we do understand it is a double-edged sword, and we do understand that peer relations have become very, very difficult vis-a-vis what it was, when we were growing up. It was very simple, friends, maybe one boyfriend, something. Nowadays, peer relations kids are we see a lot of bullying, we're seeing a lot of cyberbullying, we're seeing, there is a lot of FOMO, we are seeing a lot of peer pressure, we are also seeing, there are very many phenomena, we're seeing polarization, we are seeing a lot of expectation, we are seeing where children are not able to cope up all the time. So yes, mental health has become as important as our physical health is. It should not be negated or dismissed.
But there is also one more thing, and I want to bring in Dr. Jyoti Gupta before I start folding at the show. Madam, I'm born in 1975. I saw TV in 1980s. By 85, I had access to VCP and VCR. And when I used to watch American films or the Hollywood, the first thing which I noticed was that, American schools are very different from the European schools. Any movie shot in UK would be stiff upper lip, students in one dress, but American schools, adult-like behavior in the schools was witnessed, and I felt that, these schools are not just the places for children, they were like jungle where you need to survive. Do you think that the larger cosmos of schools have also changed in this country?
Yes, it is changing, and we need to respond to the changes. So we can't say that the children are changing and the schools should not change. All the norms should change, the parenting norms should also change. For so many decades now, we've talked about the pressure on the children, and we've said corporal punishments are bad. Spare the rod and spoil the child. बच्चों को किसी बात का डर ही नहीं. They just do not bother about anything. They're not bothered about their parents. They are not bothered about their peers. It just doesn't matter to them. So every time, like we brought in, say no to corporal punishments. We brought in no pressure for the children. I think it is time to redefine the rules once again.
Okay.
In the presence of the social media, in the presence of what is happening around, changing scenarios, we need to redefine the code of conduct. If we do not do that, and we keep working on what we have been working on, it's going to spoil the future of the children. They do not know the difference between right and wrong. They do not listen to their parents. They want their space. The child, when he comes to or she comes to class 7, 8, they have to be made aware of so many things around them. The parents still do not talk about sex education. The parents still do not talk about the sexualities. The parents still do not talk about the bullying. The parents still do not talk about, they do not say no to the children. They buy the devices for the children. The latest iPhone is bought for the children of class 7. Why? Why can't the parents say no? Why can't the schools say no? Why can't we create a safe space for all the children?
Absolutely.
We need to redefine the code of conduct.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A closing comment from Asha Mukundan.
You have put up one question on the screen to say that are parents to be blamed? You speak to most of the parents and they'll say that we are completely clueless on how to manage children of that age today. The social reality, when you're saying, I was born in 75, that's how it is. So today when I'm dealing with a, 16-year, 17-year-old, his social reality and my child's social reality is completely different. And I am also, as a parent, completely clueless on how to deal with a child. So we have parents who come and say कि बच्चे को अंदर रखो, वो हमारा सुनता नहीं है. हम नहीं जानते बच्चों को किस तरीके से डील करना. So there is everybody is struggling. If children are struggling, even parents are struggling at their own level to deal with children. And
I really run short of time, but I agree with Dr. Vikram Singh. Like Australia and New Zealand, some strong measures need to be taken the way they have taken on social media platform by denying access. They have redefined the age, 16 years. I think something as strong as required, because normalization of violence, normalization of sexual stereotype, the consumption of pornography through these OTT platforms on mobile phone, which is so difficult for even parents to monitor, is simply bordering on impossibility. I think on this sober note, I am ending this conversation, and with a reminder that when you read this, you have to understand the horror is not just in what the boy or the child has done. The horror is when he says, whatever happened, happened. And the friend is saying, you had to thrash him, not kill him. That is where the horror is. And this is all I have on point. But the second on point will be after the break. And it is on India's mission, Gaganyaan.
एसोसिएट स्पॉन्सर डायना प्रीमियम ब्यूटी सोप, पहली झलक करे खूबसूरत.
तो अपने सोने को काम पे लगाइए. आज ही कॉल कीजिए 1-800-313-1212 पर.
Papa, let's go to Duda. Happy birthday, Duda. Duda, I love you. Go, Duda, go. I love my Duda. I love my Duda.
Skoda. Sir, try berry pulao. Too good. Good, no?